Okay, good morning and welcome to Yeshiva YouTube, just Daf It. Today we're doing the Daf Gimel number 63. We have a great share for you today. Talk about rain. Rained yesterday here in Israel a lot. One of the first times in the winter it actually rains. We start on the bottom. Samach Beis and with Beis, the second to last line. Amar Bzeira, Achlokas the Amar Ada Geshamim, Aval Amar Ada Geshem, Adzman Geshamim Kam. We had a Machlokas in the Mishnah. When you say Ada Geshamim, take a nether, I'm not going to drink wine until the Geshamim. So the halacha is the Machlok. Shmuel says it depends until doesn't have to actually rain a second time. According to the Rabbanan, it has to rain 2 times. According to Shmuel, it has to be until the second time usually would rain, which is we're going to see Machlokas today 3 Tanoim, but presumably passing to Rabbi Yehuda that the second time is considered Yud Zayin Cheshvan. I'm not sure if passing to Rabbi Yehuda or Rabbi Yossi would be Chav Gimel Cheshvan. That would be the halacha. Rabbi Zera says it's only if you say Ada Geshamim, plural Geshamim. So Ada Geshem until rain, right? So probably you're talking about the time for rain, not necessarily it has to actually rain. So whereas in Mesiveh, I have a question on Rabbi Zera, Samachil Madal on the top. Ezu Zmanash Ravia Bechira. This is a Bryce, I think, quoted in Maseches Tainus. What's considered the first time for rain when it normally rains? Begimel, the third day of Cheshvan. Beinonis, the second time for the second rain, B'Shiva, Zayin Cheshvan. Afela, the third rain, B'Esrim V'Shlosha, the 23rd of Cheshvan. Divrei Meir. We'll see in a second what's the nafkamina when it normally rains. Rabbi Yehuda Omer, B'Shiva is the first time of the rain, Zayin Cheshvan. B'Shiva Asar, Yud Zayin Cheshvan is the time for the second rain. Of Eshem V'Shlosha, Chav Gimel Cheshvan is the time for the third rain. Rabbi Yossi Omer, B'Shiva Asar is the time for the first rain. V'Eshem V'Shlosha, Chav Gimel Cheshvan is the time for the second rain. V'Chodesh Kislev, Rosh Chodesh Kislev is considered to be the time of the third rain. As the Gemara in Tainus explains, the reason the third rain, when it rains the third time, is significant because it doesn't rain by that third time, then the distinguished members of the Kehillah start to take a private fast upon themselves because the rain has not come yet, and rain was essential for the crops. I'm reading Allah. We said about that Bryce Vishlam Ravia Rishona. Why does it tell us when the time for it to rain? So the time for it, the first rain, is an afkamin ali shoyl that you start asking. You start saying in bracha, saying talumat ali bracha, right? In brachas hashanim. Shlishis, the time for the third rain, that's lihisanos. That's like we said before. That's when the yichidim, the distinguished members of the community, start fasting. El shnia lamai, the second rain, the second time for rain. Why is that significant? Amar b'zer lenoder. It's for our Mishnah, talking about, like we explained, right? That when the second rains fall, that's when you say Ada Geshamim, right? Your neder is in effect until the time for the second rains. Allah, we said regarding that. Kiman Azah had decided Shum Lo Mer Geshamim Shiyardu Shiv Yom Zachar Ze'ata Mona Behem Ravia Rishona Vishnia. Shmuel had a statement in a brisa. He said, if rain falls for 7 days, one after another, right? It's counted both for the first rain and the second rain. Kiman Rabbi Yossi, that follows Rabbi Yossi, because according to Rabbi Yossi, right, he's the only one that says there's a 7-day period between the first and second rain. First rain is Yud Zayin Cheshvan, Chav Gimel Cheshvan is the second rain. Now, the Gemara is assuming, presumably, when we're talking about, Shmuel made the statement, he was talking about when a person said Ad HaGeshem, not Geshamim, right? Ad HaGeshem, we're talking about the time for the first, second, and third rain, right? Usually we would say Ad HaGeshem, because that sounds more like the time as opposed to Geshamim when it actually rains. And the fact that Shmuel makes a statement, right, which seemingly he's saying, even according to the Chamim, right, he says it has to actually rain 7 days, right? When do you count 7 days of rain as 2 times that have passed for rain is actually when it rains, right? And presumably we're talking about Ad HaGeshem. I mean, nonetheless, Rosh Hashanah says it has to actually, right? It has to actually rain. Rosh Hashanah was the one who said, right, even by Ad HaGeshem, you go until the time of the rain. So it seems Ad HaGeshem actually has to rain. So the answer is no. We thought wrong. We originally thought that the Bryce was talking about until Adag Geshem. No, it's talking about Adag Shamim where it has to actually rain. The Mishnah says, Konav Yayin Shani Toim Lashana. I'm not going to taste wine for a year. Neshabra Hashana. Right? And the year became a leap year. So Shana normally means 12-month period. If there's a 13th month, so that's included. Asr Ba Ibura. He's Asr that month, Adar, and Ibura, the other Shani that it had. Adrosh Adar. I'm not going to drink wine until the beginning of Adar. Adrosh Adar Harishon. He's forbidden only until Adar Rishon, even there's a second Adar. Adsof Adar, to the end of Adar, Adsof Adar Rishon. Again, Adar Stama in the Mishnah. If you just say the word Adar, it means even if there's a second Adar, you're only Asr till the end of the first Adar. Gemara says, Alma Stama the Adar, the Kama Rishon. Our Mishnah, it seems very clear. If you just say the word Adar, right? Adar could be Adar Rishon or Adar Sheni. If there's another Sheni, if you just say Adar, presumably what you mean is Adar Rishon. Lema Masisn Rabbi Yehuda, he say that our Mishnah follows the opinion of Rabbi Yehuda. The Sanya, it says in the Bryce, Adar Rishon, Kosev Adar Rishon. When it comes to Shtaros, you're writing a shtar, you're writing a document, a shtar Kiddushin, a shtar Gerushin, a shtar Halva. You're supposed to write the date in these things. So, let's say it happened during Adar, so it happened during Adar Rishon. So, Kosev Adar Rishon. You write Adar the first one. If it's a leap year, Adar Sheni, Kosev Adar Stam. Divrei Meir. If it's done during the second month of Adar, it's a leap year, you just write Adar. And we know Stam Adar during a leap year means the second Adar. You don't Meir, the opposite. Adar Rishon Kosev Stam. If it's a leap year and it happens during the first Adar, you write Adar without writing the first Adar. Adar Sheni Kosev Tinyan. Adar Sheni, you write Adar Tinyan is an Aramaic word for second. Adar Sheni, presumably that's what it means. So say our Mishnah follows only Rabbi Yehuda, because according to Rabbi Meir, right, other stam, other without detailing which other it is, means the second one, not the first one. Amar Abaye says, no, I feel Teva Rabbi Meir. Our Mishnah could accord you with Rabbi Meir. Had yad demabra shasa, had lo yada. Our Mishnah is talking about, right, that even other Rishon is called other stam, right, other without clarifying whether it's the first month means the first other. That's talking about where you don't know that it's going to be an Uber year. You don't know it's going to be an Uber year. So presumably you don't know that it's going to add an extra month. You weren't privy to that information of basin going and intercalating. I don't know the word, intercalculating, making a new month. You didn't know about that. So therefore, presumably what you meant that Neder and Shtar is the first Adar. So therefore other Stam is the other Rishon. But if you know that that's going to be Uber year, then other Stam could be other Sheni, like it's supposed to be. Other Stam means other Sheni. That Tanya and the Gemara supports this from a Brisa, top of Samagil and Beis. Arosh Chodesh Adar. If you take a Neder and Rosh Chodesh Adar, Arosh Chodesh Adar Rishon. You meant to say until the first Adar Rishon. If you say if it was a leap year, so it's until Rosh Chodesh Adar, without saying it means the second Adar. Michlal the Reish Lab Muberes Haskinan. Right? So we're going to say what? The first line of the Mishnah of this Brisa was talking about it wasn't an Uber year. The second line was talking about it was an Uber year. So the Stam Adar means other Sheni. And the first we know, of course it was talking about even in the Reisha. Shma Mina, so what do you say? What are you going to say? Had the Pshita Ledim Abrashas, had the Lo Yada. It's talking about a case. This Bryce is talking about a case. If he said Ad Rosh Chodesh Adar, it means Ad Rosh Chodesh Adar Rishon. You didn't know that it was going to be over a year, so therefore, when you said Adar, you meant the first Adar, because that was the only Adar that was going to be. It was a Shana Muberes. That's what the Seifa is saying, that you knew you had privy to private information. It's going to be an over a year, so then you meant Stam Adar means Adar Sheni. And now it's clear from the Gemara in Megillah. The Gemara says that if you only really be Yotzei the mitzvahs of Purim, really the Dar Parshios, really only another Sheni. Even if you do it you celebrate Purim or other Rishon, and there's an Uber year, you have to do other Sheni. You have to do it in other Sheni. So the real Adar really is other Sheni. Now, it seems from our Gemara, from our Mishnah at least, that regular Stam Adar is considered to be Adar Rishon, which is problematic with the Gemara Megillah. We're going to resolve that question in Ian with Van Sion, the Shir afterwards. It's a much closer Rishonim in the Gemara Megillah. what even if you know it's an uber year, what does other mean generally? For our Gemara, our Mishnah seems to mean other Rishon, but it's hard to understand because the mitzvahs of Purim only can be done during other Sheni. The Mishnah, Yehuda Omer Konam Yayin Sheni Tom Ajiyah Pesach. I said, I'm not going to drink wine, Ajiyah Pesach. Now we learn Ajiyah means until it's over. But here he's saying until Pesach. Lonis common Zel Pesach. Even though normally the word Ajiyah means until Pesach is over, but he's saying, I'm not going to drink wine until Pesach has been had. You probably meant only until the beginning of Pesach because you want to drink wine to be Mekayim Dalit Kosos on the first night of Pesach. That's what you meant, even though Ajiyeh, the words indicate something else. Generally, the words are outdone by a person's kavana. When it's Dvarim Shevalibo V'Leiv Kol Adam, presumably everyone means that. Most people mean that. That's what he meant. I'm not going to eat meat until the fast day. And this is probably talking about, the fast of Yom Kippur, where there's a mitzvah to eat on meat, presumably the day before the fast. Of course, you didn't include the night before the fast, right? Or Erev of the fast, Erev Yom Kippur, you're going to eat meat. You didn't include this. So it's common zel. He meant that he's going to be allowed to eat right before the fast. Omer konam shum sheni tom Shabbos. He's not going to eat garlic until Shabbos comes. Ain't no asar alil Shabbos, right? It's not until Shabbos is over because people, the minhag, Ezra is masakin. The Gemara about Kama says in Daf Beis, Ezra is masakin. People should eat shum. We saw earlier in Daf Lamed Aleph about people. The minhag is to eat garlic on Friday night. Now, people think the reason you eat garlic on Friday night is because it's marbe or zera for the man. So, because the mitzvah of Ona on Leil Shabbos, the Ona of Talmid Chachamim is on Friday night. This is what you're led to believe if you look at all the poskim, and they connect it to mitzvah Ona Shabbos. The only problem is, and I tell this to people all the time, is that the source of that Gemara, a Gemara on Ksuvos, on Pei Beis, on Samach Beis Amud Beis, the Gemara says, Onas Talmid Chachamim Me'erev Shabbos, Erev Shabbos. It doesn't say Leilei Shabbos, Leilei Shabbos. It says Me'erev Shabbos, Erev Shabbos. Erev Shabbos is not Shabbos. Erev Shabbos is Thursday night, Friday morning, Friday afternoon. Once it is Friday night, that's already called Leilei Shabbos or Shabbos. So the mitzvah of Ona is really on Thursday night, which solves a lot of problems because people are exhausted on Friday night after their meal and they don't want to be together. And I'll talk about this more at a different time, but everyone thinks Neshama Yisrael is a good thing, and therefore you'll enjoy your tashmish more. No, Neshama Yisrael is a bad thing. Making it right. The Gemara says, "Vayi nafash," right? Vayi avda nafash. You have a Neshama Yisrael that you get on Friday, going into Shabbos, and it leaves you Motei Shabbos. And Vayi nafash. The Gemara darshans in Maseches Beitza on Daf Ted Zayin. Vayi avda nafash. Whoa, you lost your nefesh. Now, why didn't it say it's called Neshama Yisrael or Vayi avda neshama? No, that's what the Gemara is telling you, that Vayav the Nafash is not that it's bad that you lost it. It's bad that you had it on Shabbos. It's bad that you had the Neshama on Shabbos, because the Neshama, which is really your life force, right? People speak a lot more on Shabbos. They eat a lot more on Shabbos. They're more involved in, schmoozing with people. It takes away, the Neshama Yisrael is a test on Shabbos. It takes away from your ability to rest. The point of Shabbos is to rest on Shabbos. Tashma Shamita takes effort. People want to fall asleep, sleep a lot on Shabbos. Some people are successful in that. Some people are not successful in that. That's the point of Shabbos, is to rest. So vayav the nafesh, you lose the nefesh, which is really the closest thing to your, bodily needs. You lost that bodily needs because you have this neshama, which is a life force, like a candle, which is driving you to put energy and to put exertion into Shabbos. So that's why people, make the mistake of having Tasha Shemitah on Shabbos. But the Gemara clearly says it's supposed to be Thursday night. Friday night is supposed to relax. And that's why they're Masakin to eat shum on Leili Shabbos on Friday night. Why are you eating garlic on Friday Shabbos? Where does it say that it's Marbe Zera? No, because the Gemara says in Sanhedrin, in various places, that garlic is a very foul odor. When you eat a lot of garlic, your breath smells very bad. He's Masakin to eat shum, so you shouldn't be together with your wife on Leil Shabbos, because both of your breaths are going to smell, and you're not going to want to be together with each other. That's why he's masakin to eat shum on Leili Shabbos, so you shouldn't be together. I'm turning everything on its head over here. This really is an Iyun Ben Sion in itself, but I have a different Iyun Ben Sion to tell you But really, it's a very important chiddush to know. But the point of the Mishnah says is that he says, I'm not going to eat garlic ad shehei lel Shabbos. He means that lel Shabbos you could eat it. That's what he meant. Dvaram shivul li v'lev kol adam. Shlon is kamen zel ad shash derech b'nei adam lechol b'shum. Ha'omer l'chaveiro konim shani nenalach. Im ein at ba v'notel lebanecha kura echad shal chitin shtei chavaya shal yayin. He says, you can't get enough from me unless you take, right? This is a generous man. He obviously got a favor from this guy, and he wants to repay the favor. So you have to go take from me a measure of wheat, 2 barrels of wine. Right? You wanted to honor somebody, to give him some wine, to give him some bread. And he says, my honor is not to take gifts. So if once he says that, it's like Nidre Zruzin, we explained in the second parak, I think it's the third parak of Daf It Nedarim. Nidre Zruzin, the first case, is not a neder because he just meant to motivate someone. He didn't really mean to take the neder. Right? You can't get enough from me. Right? You owe me something unless you give some wine and bread to my son. Rameir said it is a valid neder. If afterwards he says, you know what, I relent on my nether, it's like I got the wine. I don't need the wine. I'm rich anyway. I don't need the wine and bread. So it's like he was makabel the wine already. Here it is kabalti. And if he says it, it shows that his nether was the Nidrei Zruzin. Someone wanted his brother to marry the daughter, the sister wants the brother to marry his niece, right? Amar Konim, which is much I marry niece, but Amar he didn't want to marry his niece. She's too young. She's only 12 years old. Amar Konim shehinenes lila olam. He wanted to ensure that he never have to marry her. So he says she can't get benefit from me forever. This niece, or you divorce your wife. Amar Konim shehinenes lila olam. He's very angry at his wife. She can never get enough from me. After they get divorced, or this niece, they can get benefit, financial benefit, physical benefit from them. He just meant to say, he just meant to mizaris his words, to strengthen his words, because he don't want to get married to them. That's why he just emphasized he don't want to get married. Not that he really meant to ask for them. No, a friend was urging him to come over for a Shabbos meal. I don't have time to come to your house. I have people to see, things to do. I'm not coming to your house. I told him, I'm not even going to drink a little bit of cold water. Technically, he can go to his house, if your lens, and says, okay, I'll come over to your house, I'll drink some water. All he meant really was to say, I'm not going to sit down and eat a meal, a full-fledged meal with you. That was his intention. This is what normally people mean. So therefore, that's the way we interpret your words, especially by Nedarim, where it depends where your intention was. We finished the 8th parak of Masechtas Nedarim. We'll move on tomorrow to the 9th parak of Masechtas Nedarim. Stay tuned for Iyad Ben Sion. Even though I gave you our Iyad Ben Sion, a really important Iyad Ben Sion, which is big nafkamina, I will give you something about other Rishon, other Sheni, Iyad Ben Sion coming up next.